Okay, they're all torqued and all done whatever you need to do. Now I'm going to do not use your torque wrench to loosen torque down bolts. Now mind you, and don't use it to do your angle tightening. That's what a breaker bar is for. Believe me, you'll save yourself a lot of doggone headaches by not doing that. And if you're doing this, do not allow the socket, if your socket's loose, it doesn't stay on the tool, don't let it fall on the crank, tear it all up, because that's what has happened to me in the past. But anyway, we'll get this took apart here right quick, see what we got, and then I will not show you putting the crank back in, lubed up, ready to go, but I will show you. I'm going to pull it out and then put the main caps back on, and I'll see if my inside caliper or inside snap gauge and that stuff actually reads any different, or if it reads any better or worse. I may just do one to see what it looks like and go from there. Because I have those tools. Now I've got Starrett. Not everybody can afford that stuff. I've had them for many, many years. I got them from a place I used to work that when they got to a certain age and they had to get rid of them, it was part of it was actually required by law to do it in the place that we worked, because we were working on safety devices, safety relief valves, and it was part of the deal. You could only have those pieces of equipment in service for so long. They had to be recalibrated regularly. And whoops, I'm starting the wrong one. Sorry, I'm not paying attention. I'm talking. What else is new? And anyway, so you kind of had to follow all these rules, and they had to be. So anyway, when they got ready to be put down, well, good grief, they were still functioning. Most people use those things for, you know, forever, and so I wasn't going to allow those to be just discarded, which is what they actually had to go off site. They could not be backups. They could not be left on site. They actually had to leave premises. Now, mind you, this was years ago, and I don't know if they've changed a lot of the rules on that. I'm going with probably not. And you actually had to keep track of calibrations on everything you had. It was quite a deal. It was kind of cool. I mean, you know, kept you on your toes, kept you from doing anything stupid, and you did have to. Like I said, there were several things you had to do, but they actually had certified blocks that were all various sizes that they were supposed to meet. You know, when you checked your calipers and all that kind of stuff, you had to check them with that, and then even those had to be recalibrated every few years. Even the blocks had to be recalibrated. Did I miss that one? No, just so. Anyways, kind of like I said, kind of cool. Different things that you don't expect in certain jobs, and things that people don't realize. That if you're national board certified on safety valves, especially steam valves, section 1 they called them, on boilers, which I traveled around, and because most of your big, if you see a power plant, most of those have such high pressure that they actually the valves are welded onto the unit. They're not. This is where I'm always petrified about tearing something up. The worst one is that I'm concerned about is your thrust, because I'm afraid you're going to have to walk it off there and tear it up. But as you can see, when you pull it off, you can actually see a piece of dirt in there, of course, but you can see it squished. I'll check them on this crank just a second. Right now I'm going to set these down, get them all apart. These are the ones you got to be careful. Do not spin this crankshaft. Now I know there's some people who say, well, just put a little lube on there, it's not going to hurt anything, and you're probably right. It may not make that much difference. And I probably should have done it. Against my better judgment, I didn't. And But I'm trying to do it by the book this time, 100% by the book. Of course, like I said, yes, I did not follow the torque sequence exactly, and I will do that when I put the crank in and the rods. But for plastic gauging purposes, I'm not torquing this down forever. I know I got to take it back apart, and both these stuff are still looking kind of good. I'll show you how to read it here in just a second when we get these off here. And do it that way. Almost done. There we go. Now for the one I don't want to mess with, but I got to do it. No movement. A little bit. It's coming. Back on it. Be careful. All right. They're all out. Now I'm going to get the little gauge. Get the camera off the tripod. Make sure it's recording. Why, look at there it is. Okay, number one. Let me make the old vomit cam go. Okay, so what you're doing, you're checking to see how wide that is. So let's start with 3/1000. A bit wider than that. 2/1000. It's a big bit. Let's see. It's actually 0.0015. Is my big finger in the way? No. You can see it right there. You need to go to the widest spot that it's at. And I mean, it's not quite that, but it's not. But it's really, really close. So, mind you, if you remember, move some stuff here out of the way. Actually, I need that. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, now if you remember, on the main, oops, that's torque specs. Let me go one more page back. Okay, that's rod. I don't know, you can't see what I'm looking at. Okay, main journal, oil clearance, V8s, 0008 to 0021, and I'm at 0015. So I am well within specs of the 0008 and 0021 on that particular cylinder. You can also check them, as you can tell, you can check them on, now there's a couple of them that's fatter than the others, and that's not uncommon, but that's the reason you're supposed to do them really long. But because that'll throw what you're seeing off a little bit. To me, it's kind of an optical illusion, but either way, I'm going to check all these, but that's kind of how you do it. Some of them are harder to get to, which is why I'll probably do it on the mains itself, or on the bearings. But we could possibly check. You can see that line right there. Yeah, I know my camera's working on it. Sorry guys, doesn't like this kind of stuff. And you can see how hard it is to get down in here. I need to move this around a little bit. Now this one is, I'm going to call that the 00. It's still a little fatter than the 002. So it's between the 0015 and the 002. So that's good. This one's going to be a little harder to see. Again, I don't want to turn the crankshaft. Oops, sorry. Can't even see it, can you? Yeah, you can a little bit. Kind of the same thing. It's just a tad over the 002. Hang on, I got to get a little closer. Now this is the, well, that one is even tighter yet. Which is good. Can you see that? Hang on. There we go. I know it's hard to see that, especially the angle I'm holding it at, but that's, sorry, I didn't even have it on the right thing. So that's 0001 or 001. So last one. I know my camera work is no good, is it? I'm trying to get it to where, there it is. Yep, we are fine. Everything looks good there. Again, your oil clearance was 0008 to 0021. That's them numbers right there. That is main bearing oil clearance, V8 engines. So we're really good. Everything looks good. So I'm going to clean this out, pull this crank back out, and the next I don't know if this will be another part or whatever, but I'm going to take this back out and I'm going to show you the other way to do it. So it's probably going to be a different video. So till next time. Alright, right now I just have the number 1 in there. It's already been 15 pounds in the middle, 80 degrees, and the outside 51. So the first one's done. I haven't done the rest. I've already cleaned bearing surfaces. I got my snap gauge ready to go. You don't want to snap that on them bearings, so you know, and you also want to drag it too much. But I went ahead and cleaned everything up, and just gonna, they'll spring loaded. They'll come out, and you can tighten the end, and that'll hold them in place. And then you kind of snap them into place or whatever. And that's also how you keep your memory. Now, mind you, the bottom one has a groove and holes in it, so you can't go all the way to the center. That's optimal, but it doesn't matter. Your bearing surface should ride even all the way across. So I'm going to, now mind you, where this isn't going to work real well is that the snap gauges are not round at the bottom to points on both ends, so this probably is not going to give me very accurate, but I just wanted to see if it would work, but I don't think it will. Okay, this is where it wants to be. I've locked it in place. I'm going to get my, now this won't give me my thousandths. What this is going to do is give me the gap, what the actual crank journal is supposed to be, you know, and then you have to take that, then you subtract out what your clearances are supposed to be. So if it's supposed to be, well, for instance, like I said, I know this isn't going to be super accurate because of the way it's set up, but I'm going to experiment with it anyway, just to kind of get an idea. See, this is 2-inch, looks like 2-inch 560. Now mind you, I'm probably off a little bit. I know you're not seeing that, it's probably reflecting off of it, but it's 2-inch 560. So let me see what it's actually supposed to be, and let's see. Main journal V8 2.558 to 2.559, and I'm at 2.560. Now, yes, that's too big, but you've got to remember what I'm talking about. This is why you can't always rely on certain things. This snap gauge, this is basically, it's a little round, but it's basically flat here and it's flat here, where your bearing surfaces are round. So when it's in there, it's not going to read. It's not going to read right. You know what I'm saying? So this isn't a way to do it. It gets you close, but it's not right. So just keep that in mind. As this was a good idea, but my snap gauges are not designed to round. I guess they're made to do where this shines is like doing a cylinder bore. You can easily take the calipers and go across to get an idea of what your bore is. The problem is it's only the top, and your rings never get that high. So where your wear is in your cylinder wall is halfway down, because that's where your rings are always riding. The rings always ride the center section of that bore, and they don't quite go to the top. They miss whatever that that amount of space is from the top of your ring to the top of the piston. That never goes up that high, so you've got that gap, whatever that is. And the same way with coming down, the rings don't go all the way to the bottom, because you get that long little skirt on the piston. So the rings only ride in the center. So that's where you want to use these in the very center. But again, these are round, not as round, and the bore is rounder. It's just, it's bigger, so you have a little bit, it catches a little bit better. Still not the way to do it. There's more precise pieces of equipment, I guess is what I'm saying, to do this. That's why I decided to do the plastigauge. I didn't know if this would work or not, and I didn't even think about that not being tapered, not being round enough. So I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, it told me it was close. It would tell me if it was standard or not. Like if it had been turned, the crank had been turned, I could actually put this on the crankshaft. Matter of fact, we could do that. That was number one. We just experiment with this. Now some of these journals on certain engines are too big. This is the caliper arms aren't long enough to go all the way down. And according to this, I'm at 2.559. So I'm at the top end of the scale, which is that was the max it could be. Minimum was 5.58, and I'm at 5.59, right where it is. So that's a good way to check the journal area. The calipers work on that, but the snap gauges did not work for your bearing. You really either need the plastic gauge or you need to get the inside. Mike's what I'm saying. So anyway, that was just an experiment, and it did not work. So I'm going to take this back apart. Next video, you're going to see the crank's already going to be in, and I'm going to start on the rods. And I think it's what I'm going to do. And then I'll kind of plastic gauge them and show you. It's basically the same deal, but I'll go ahead and show you how I do it, because you don't want to put the rings on to put the pistons in to do that unless you're just going to leave them in. It's better to leave the rings off, put the piston in, get everything torqued down, then take it back apart, and then check everything out. Because if something's off, let's say you do that and you realize you got the wrong bearings, it's too tight, too close to the clearance or whatever, you end up having to pull everything back apart again. You lube all that piston and all those rings and all that other garbage up. That's such a pain. You take everything back apart again, and everything's covered with oil and stuff. So always kind of think ahead, and now if you just want to build it really fast, then yes, you can absolutely just do that if you think everything's going to be fine, which I'm pretty sure this is, because nothing has really been done to this. As far as machining, everything was standard. I checked the bearings before when I took the engine apart. Everything was already standard. The block was standard. I checked that too. So I knew nothing had been bored or done anything to on the bottom end. But in the same token, I don't know where my failure was. I still think it was in the cam bearings, but I don't know. So I'm going to double check and make sure this is right. So next time you'll see it, we'll be on rods.